You're muted, Rich.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I was
Remember,
hearing this.
remember
What's
when you play the intro, it automatically mutes everybody.
Yeah, I know. I deliberately muted. Um, for some reason, I'm hearing this signal twice. I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on. That's why I was muted. Okay, there we go. I found it. Because it was really weird. Somehow YouTube TV loaded on my YouTube tab, but the YouTube was still going on the show, and it wasn't unmuted over on YouTube. So I was hearing it, and I had to. I don't know what the hell happened. It was just really weird. But that's why I was muted, because I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on. So technical issues, you gotta love them, right? But yeah,
Technical diddlies, as MK Outdoor would say.
yeah. But now that we got that solved, welcome to the return of the wrestling show. We've been off for a few weeks because of the holidays, and you know, you had the weekend that we weren't home because we weren't watched the Christmas concert, which was really good, by the way. The Maryland Symphony Orchestra put on a hell of a show. And the sing along part was fun as hell too. And they had this jazz quartet that sang with them a couple of songs, and they played a few instrumental songs, and then at the end did the sing along. And before they did the sing along, they had Santa come out, and all the kids' faces and stuff. You could just see the excitement. The little kids that were there, how their faces lit up when they saw Santa. It was really cool. So if you're in the Hagerstown area and you like Christmas music and stuff like that, I highly recommend, if you get a chance next year, to uh, get tickets to that and go check it out. It was really cool. So anyway, yeah, anyway, the weekend after that was Christmas, so we didn't do a show then. And then last week was New Year's Eve, and usually the week after Christmas, if you look at history, I generally don't do anything that week, the next week. So yep, that's why we haven't had a show until it's been almost a month. But I think the last thing we did was a pay per view, wasn't it? The NXT show.
You and Jason did the NXT show.
Yeah. Which I think we got another one of those coming up next week. I'd have to check the schedule. Watch, with my luck, it'll probably have been this week.
I can tell you, man. I've been very critical about the wrestling and looking at it from a real objective, just kind of like watching a movie kind of point. But I'm really starting to enjoy the theater of it. Like
Yeah.
even the backstage, I'm gonna kick your butt kind of stuff has been pretty good. What's it? A&E, AEW, uh,
AEW. Yeah.
RJF or RFF.
MJF.
Yeah, he's having a beef with that uh
Ricky
Daniel Bryan.
Starks. Daniel Bryan. It was Ricky Starks. Now it's going on with Daniel Bryan. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had it on for a couple minutes the other night, and they spent 10 minutes yelling at each other on the mic, and it was like, wait a second, this is a little bit overboard. And then they get right back at it, and the crowd would get into it. So it's actually quite good. Some of the wrestlers are really showing a lot, and a lot of the mic work is just it's becoming more of a instead of just looking at it, just look at it. I'm really like enjoying it now.
Yeah. And speaking of AEW, the Forbidden Door is wide open again with New Japan and AEW. Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom, which is New Japan's WrestleMania, they put on one hell of a banger of a match on that card. They easily were the match of the night. And no shit, first goddamn pay per view of the year for any promotion, and that is a serious contender for match of the year already. Both of those guys came out with bruises all over them. Will Osprey was bleeding from two different parts of his body, Kenny Omega's got a black eye, legitimately has a black eye. They put it all out there in that match. I was tempted to cue that up and maybe watch that match later on during the show if you want. It's like a half. The match is like a half hour long. If they would have gone any longer, they would have killed each other. But
What's going on with the She-Hulk chick, that big black chick with the muscles? She had a match with two little chicks on the other team, and then a really really good looking black chick that's like on her team. And basically, the big strong girl had to kick the crap out of everybody, and it was like she was trying to force the girl on her team to be mean to the other guys.
mm-hmm.
And so I'd never seen the teammate of the real big chick.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. This past Wednesday, that
Yeah,
was yeah, that was Red Velvet was the one you're talking about. Didn't want to hurt the person. She's friends with the one person on the other team, so they're using that like as tension between her and um oh, what the hell is her name? Jade Cargill. That's the big
yeah,
She-Hulk.
yeah.
But so they're basically going to use that as tension. It looks like to split her off from Cargill's faction and have her be the next challenger for the TBS Championship. Is what it looks like.
What I liked about the match was Cargill just, I mean, absolutely slaughtered the other two chicks. It was
Yeah,
not even, should have been both wrestling at the same time. That's not just how bad she just beat the crap out of them, which is
right.
good. You should, because those little girls shouldn't be able to deal with her. What I didn't like is it didn't seem rehearsed enough, trying to get the Velvet chick in to do the bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of stale, but the match itself was pretty good because, like I said, the that big black chick just slaughtered these other two chicks.
Yeah. Oh, what they're doing with Jade Cargill and AEW is what WWE should be doing with what's her face shit, you know who I'm talking about, the big tattooed chick over there that you and Jason are always saying is a guy and all that other, joking around saying the other he's a guy. What the hell's I can't think of her fucking name right now.
Behind
But
that,
you know who?
I could get behind that.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about. They should be doing with
Yeah,
her in WWE what AEW is doing with Jade Cargill, just making her completely total badass, going out there and kicking everybody's asses.
yeah, indeed.
But yeah, Fud's out there. Yeah, Fud. Buck is out there in the YouTube chat. So evening, Buck.
What's happening, Buck? How are you, good sir?
Yeah, he has a link if he wants to jump in if he's able to. But
Buck's been doing the live shows recently.
I
He
don't
saw.
get any notification from him. What? I don't know
Well,
what's
no,
going
not
on with
him.
that.
He was a guest. He was a special guest on the
Oh,
Georgia
okay.
Connection, and then he was a guest on with Scotsman.
Yeah, I saw
Some
he was on Scotsman's last Sunday. I
he's
looked
doing,
in briefly on that. We were doing something I forget what, but I briefly just like looked in on it.
yeah,
Oh,
he's casting and stuff now.
huh?
He's casting now, so
Yeah,
that's what.
yeah. We were talking about that in somebody's after chat or something the other week or so. I forget who's. That might have been after. That might have been after Chris's show because I jumped in on for the after chat. I think we were talking about that on there how he's getting into casting and stuff. So that's cool. But yeah, there's a lot going on this week. Specifically since Thursday. You saw the little
Well,
live stream
before
I did yesterday.
let me get back on in my house before we get into the Vince thing. I'm pulling into
Okay.
my neighborhood right now,
Okay.
but I don't want to cut you off in the middle of or drop out in the middle of the Vince conversation.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know how far away you were from your house yet. So, but yeah, if you're that close, we can hold off on that. That's not a big
Yeah,
deal.
I should be on my laptop in 5 to 10 minutes, depending on what happens with the dogs and the people when I get in the house. If the dogs and the people leave me alone, it'll be 5 minutes. If not, it'll be 10.
Yeah. Yeah, I know how that goes. But honestly, I mean, if you want, after we go, we can watch that match from Wrestle Kingdom because everybody out there in the YouTube chat obviously will have to find somewhere to uh, watch it. But I can stream it on open up another StreamYard tab and stream that match, but like we usually do when we're watching a pay per view. I tell you
Yeah.
what, man, that match tops anything we watched last year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they like I said, they laid it all out there. I mean, the moves they were doing. Kenny Omega literally put Will Ospreay's head through a table. He gets the table from under the ring and just keeps smashing Will Ospreay's head into the table until his head went through it.
That's fake, man. That's fake.
Uh huh. Yeah, I know those tables are only like particle board and shit, right? But that's still gonna hurt like a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
His face was all cut up.
All right, I'm gonna mute up to the house.
He took over. It's your. So what you're saying, Buck? It's your fault. It's yours and Chris's fault that Gary isn't going to be doing the. Oh, I don't know if I should say because he hasn't officially announced yet. But yeah. Oh, there's Buck popping in now, so we can let him in. Howdy, Buck.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on, Kingpin? Well, there went
Yep.
King.
Yeah, he's switching from his phone to his TV
Uh,
or his computer.
yeah, I was getting ready to jump in earlier, and the damn computer just went fucking crazy. Lost my internet. I might lose it.
Whoa! Don't do that. I almost lost my signal because the kitten decided he was going to jump up on the keyboard. Now, you seen this little guy, right? This is my wife's
Oh
latest
yeah, yeah,
rescue project. He's a cute little thing. Sneezy. He
yeah,
sneezes a lot. Little sneezer. I
yeah. I
don't know if
told
you've
you I
ever
had
watched.
14 more I can bring you.
No. Trying to get rid of some of these things. But yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen Tiny Toon Adventures. There was a little mouse on there named Little Sneezer who was constantly sneezing all the time. And he would when he sneezed, people would go flying across the screen. I started calling him Sneezer because he sneezes all the time. I don't know if
Oh
he's got
yeah.
I don't know if he's got some respiratory issue going on or sinus issue or something, but he's always sneezing. And when he does, you get a shower, whether you had one already or not. But yeah, but he's a good little boy. But yeah, she found him wandering around outside right about the time when it was getting super cold, and figured his mother or whatnot must have passed out there in the cold. So, and she's like, I gotta take him in. So, got another little kitten running around.
Shit, I got too many of them around here. Maybe
Yeah,
I can send Kingpin some.
yeah, she rescues the little shit, and he hangs on me all day. I mean, literally, I don't know what it is about me, but he goes, runs and plays for a little bit, and then comes back over and climbs up on me to go to sleep. Doesn't do it to anybody else.
Yeah, you're his buddy.
Yeah, apparently. Man, I'm just chomping at the bit to talk about the Vince McMahon stuff, and gotta wait for Kingpin to get back in here. I don't know if you saw the little short I did, live stream I did yesterday.
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
When?
like mad.
What was yesterday? Oh, yesterday was Friday.
No,
Yeah.
yesterday was Saturday. Yeah, yeah. Yesterday was Friday. Today's Saturday.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, don't be scaring me like that.
No, you almost scared me. Like, what's yesterday Friday? Like, what's today?
Damn, I
I'm
know I
forgetting
got
what
one more
day it
day
is.
off.
Something. It's like what? Yeah, but oh man, yeah. But figure tonight. I mean, if you guys want, we can watch that match with Osprey and Omega. 'Cause I don't know if you heard me saying that, but while you were trying to jump in, That was a hell of a match.
Yeah, I heard you talking about it. Hell yeah, we can watch that.
Yeah, I'll have to get that queued up. I got. They did at Wrestle Kingdom. They did a double main event. It was the first part of the main event was Osprey versus Omega, and the second half was Jay White defending the New Japan Championship against Kazuchika Okada. That was a hell of a show altogether, the Wrestle Kingdom this year. But it always is. Wrestle Kingdom's always a hell of a show. I gotta find that on their website. Get that match queued.
Hey, you heard anything from Jason Stewart?
Not today or anything. No.
Well, I figured he'd be in here. Hell, he might be working.
Yeah, who knows? Now I gotta find the match.
Well, we got all that trucks done before the end of the year. Now I got 50 or 60 more to go by the end of the year.
Is that all?
Yeah. And they bought two of them in Thursday, I think it was. I looked at them yesterday. Man, both of them things are pieces of shit.
Isn't that the way it usually works?
Yeah, that's the way my luck rolls.
I got that match set up, so whenever it comes time, just got to open a second StreamYard tab and yeah. But man, that Wrestle Kingdom was 5.5 hours long.
Damn. When did they show that?
That was Tuesday morning here.
Oh,
It's always on the 4th of January.
oh, okay.
Wednesday. It was Wednesday morning. Excuse me, not Tuesday. Yeah, but Wrestle Kingdom's always the 4th of January. It doesn't matter what day of the week it falls on because they don't do the typical weekend thing like we do here. So
Yeah.
whenever they do shows whenever.
Was that the Japan wrestling?
Yeah, that was
Japanese
New
wrestling?
Japan. It's their version of WrestleMania.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a long. That's a lot of hours there. Whew. 5
Yeah,
hours of wrestling.
yeah. That includes the pre-show. 5.5 hours with the pre-show included. Wrestle Kingdom's the only main really big show that they do where they have a pre-show. At least it gets televised. I don't know if they do dark matches normally or not.
My next question is: do they do a lot of talking like WWE?
Nope.
Good. It might have been interesting then.
Yeah, you don't get. It's not like WWE at all.
Yeah, I
They're
remember that last one we watched. They moved pretty quick. They had like 10 matches, I think it was.
yeah, the AEW one. The
No, no, the New
no, you're talking about
Japan
the New
one.
Japan. Yeah, New Japan show.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They're more like AEW because we've watched some of the AEW ones. They don't have all of the talking and stuff. The
Yeah,
only
neither
talking
did the crowd.
well, they weren't allowed.
Yeah, man.
It depends on where they're at in Japan, whether the crowd, because of COVID, is allowed to cheer or not. Wrestle Kingdom, they were allowed to cheer.
Oh, I bet you it was noisy up in there then.
Yeah, 25,000 people were at Wrestle Kingdom this year, which is their largest crowd since
Yeah.
COVID. Oh, the Tokyo Dome holds like 50 to 60 people, or 50 to 60,000, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were filled to like half capacity because they've still got to follow the country's COVID regulations. But as far as cheering and stuff, the Japan's national government has ruled that it's up to the local municipalities and stuff now whether they can allow cheering or not. And Tokyo does, but some of the other areas don't still. So like that one we watched, they were in an area where that doesn't allow cheering yet, which is stupid. Let's be perfectly honest. We In this country we've had people at sporting events cheering since what, a couple months after the whole COVID scare originally happened.
Oh, hell yeah. At least.
But Japan's a weird place. Let's be honest. They say they're a Western country because of their economy and stuff, but as far as their values, as far as listening to the government and stuff concerned and all that, they're still in the Middle Ages on that shit. Kingpin must have been getting bothered by the dogs or people. It's been over 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah, it must be.
As soon as he gets in here, he's gonna have to take over for a minute because I'm gonna have to log out of one StreamYard to create the other StreamYard, and then log back into this StreamYard after I create the other StreamYard. So I gotta wait for him because he's the co-host. So if anybody else jumps in while I'm gone, he can let them in. See, if I were smart, I would have set up the other StreamYard before I set this StreamYard up, but I didn't think about it at the time.
Yep.
So, I just looked at it as like, shit, I gotta log out, log into the other one, log back, set that up, and log back into this one. Like, but it's worth it. The match is worth it for me to go through that hassle for you guys to see it. I got no problem with that.
All right. Yeah, I got my email back up, so. I'm surprised I ain't seen nobody out there in the side chat.
No. Ain't nobody out there. It says there's one person. Probably that's
I
probably me.
I uh I don't remember getting it. Well, I don't know. My computer was down. But usually I get a notification.
Yeah. Notifications with YouTube have been screwy lately. So,
Yeah, I noticed that.
yeah, there's Kingpin again. And if you're on your computer, you still don't have an avatar, Kingpin.
He ain't all the way in yet.
No, apparently not.
And Gizzard Gary, he ain't gonna do the damn early bird chat no more.
Shh, he hasn't officially announced that yet.
Yeah, he's put it all over YouTube.
I know, I'm joking. That was in reference to the after chat last night, or no, the chat, the internal chat. DJ was getting him the third degree in the internal YouTube chat on StreamYard. About it when he was going to officially announce it and everything. I was like, oh my god, dude, give the man time to do it.
Man, Jamie sent me a link again to go on that Georgia shooting connection. Man, I didn't see it was too late. Shit, I was tired, man. It's been a short, long week. Man, stood around for 3 days not doing nothing.
Why is Gary leaving the early bird?
He just decided not to do it anymore. I blame Buck and Chris.
Yeah, we ain't had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it was your reloading discussion.
Hey, me and Chris were on a roll. Goddamn, we on the Georgia shooting connection. We ran it at half hour, 45 minutes later. We stayed in the after chat for a minute. Then Chris did one right behind that.
Let's see what you you and Chris started talking reloading, and Gary's like, "Oh, screw this! I ain't doing this anymore. They're trying to turn my show into a reloading show."
Hell, Gary was out visiting his kin people. That was one spur of the moment things there.
Yeah, I caught part of it. Gave Chris a hard time in the YouTube chat for not getting
Yeah,
sending me a link. How's this early bird chat if I didn't get a link? He was all apologizing. I was like, dude, I was just messing with you. Calm down. Speaking of, I still haven't gotten any notification from the Great American Outdoor Show.
oh, you haven't?
No, it was like 2 weeks before the show when we got the emails last year. They are slow to get those emails
Yeah,
sent out, letting people know they were accepted for it.
yeah, that there get on my nerves.
Mm-hmm. It's like, come on, man, it's less than a month. Gotta get my hotel room booked and everything, bitches. Come on. But anyway, you're back now, Kingpin.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I need you to take over for a minute because I gotta create another StreamYard so we can stream that match later on. Because Buck wants to watch it, so that
Okay.
because oh wait, you on your phone or your computer because you're not showing up as the co-host.
I don't know why it won't. I'm on my computer now, so I don't know why my Jamie's not there.
Yeah, and you should be sitting where Buck is because you're supposed to be the co-host on the wrestling show.
I didn't have that option either.
Huh? God damn it! Now I got to figure that one out. Isn't that lovely?
I don't care enough to put the Kingpin thing back up.
Anyway, damn it, we could do the match next week if it comes
All
down to
right,
it.
yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah, because
Hell, we
no,
can
we
always
can't.
always do it during the early bird chat since
There
it ain't
isn't
there no
one.
more. I know, plenty of room there.
Yeah. I don't need to be doing 2 streams in one day though.
You're already doing two.
How am I doing 2 in one day?
Oh, two in one day. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
2 in one day.
G-Webs does 3 or 4 in a day sometimes.
I've done a whole day where I was doing nothing but live streams from one person's show to another to another to another. I ain't doing that again.
I didn't have the marathon that you and Gary had. I've been
Oh yeah, Gary and I did. Fuck, man, way too much.
literally all.
We were on all day on different people's shows. Actually, I may not have to.
Hell, that's the way I felt last weekend.
It's absolutely ridiculous how much me and Gary did. Because we did Gary's show. Then G Webs decided randomly to start a show. And we did that show right after Gary got done with the early bird chat. And then somebody else did one after G Webs was done. And then we did, I don't even remember who the hell that was. and then we did my show, and then we did Midnight Range's show. By the time me and Gary were done, we had done 15, 16 hours that day. Like, I ain't doing that again. Which it gets me how some of these people can do like 24-hour live streams and stuff. I don't know if you saw, Drew did a 24-hour thing on New Year's Eve, but
Yeah, I seen that. I stopped in there a little bit. I said, "Hey, how y'all doing?"
like, yeah, I'm not doing 24-hour live stream.
Oh hell no!
15, 16 hours was too long. I ain't doing no damn 24-hour.
I told you what happened on Uncle Jim's chat, didn't I?
Uh, I,
Last week.
nah, I don't, I, if you did, I wasn't there for to hear what
Oh
you're saying.
yeah, it wasn't pleasant. Not at all. Mm.
Do you feel like going into it in any detail, or save that for off air?
I think this would be better off air.
Well, remind me at the end of the show, because I'm really curious as to what your experience was like.
Oh, all right.
Like
Man.
general, like really, actually, because
Yeah.
we can talk about that off air as to why I'm curious. All right, man. Vince McMahon, let's get it.
Oh, hold on. Let me get this set up first, and then we can talk about. Because I'm gonna have to jump out of here and then jump back in again.
So, oh, we are gonna watch the match tonight.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
I've been setting it up the whole time we've been talking just now. So
So when are you gonna get out there and fire your first cast bullets, Buck?
I got to powder coat them yet, and then load them up.
Nice.
okay,
Probably about another week or so.
I just sent you guys the link to the other StreamYard, so I'm gonna jump out of here, relog back into this StreamYard, and jump back in. So I'll be right back.
All right. Have you picked a powder coat color, or you don't really care about that, or like what's your feelings on the powder coat color?
Uh, I ain't too worried about the color. I got a Ford blue, that Eastwood Ford blue.
Yeah.
I got something else. What I got? And I got two lighter blues, and I think I got a maroon. I think a reddish maroon. And plus, Jason sent me a link for that chromachrome.
The
Uh,
ones that look like silver, kind of.
yeah, I got those too. I got that too. I took everything out the house, set it all up last weekend, cast it a little bit, had to bring everything back in.
Yeah.
And then Jamie said he does his in the house. So I set mine up right behind me, right here at the window.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as you're not, because that's what I asked him a long time ago. When casting became like heavy in our conversation. Well, hours, you know what I mean? Like gun, like reloading conversation. And I was asking him about the fumes and the toxic stuff coming off there. And it seemed like the guys who had first started were like, "Oh yeah, I wear a mask and I do it outside and I've got fans blowing." And then like the next time you talk to them, they're like, "Oh, I'm doing it while I'm taking a poop."
Yeah, I got mine sitting in here. I ordered one of those 4-inch inline duct fans, exhaust fans.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna build me like a little hood and just have
Oh,
it running right out the window.
heck yeah.
So
All right, I'm back. I told you guys that I sent you a link, right? It's in that same email where I sent you the link to this one. So if you look in that email, you'll see where there's a second link now.
All right.
Yeah, the Vince McMahon thing. Yeah, I know Kingpin saw the little live stream I did yesterday morning. Buck, you said you didn't, right? So what
no, I
happened?
didn't.
What? Okay, what's going on is WWE has their media contracts and stuff with some of the companies coming up, And Vince basically decided that he wants to come out of retirement. And the board of directors is telling him, no, not yet. Wait until all this blows over, because apparently, even though it hasn't been reported anywhere yet, the federal government is investigating. So they are. It could be worse. Things could be getting bad on that front as far as it's concerned for Vince as well. I mean, if the federal government's investigating and they decide to charge Vince, he's looking at quite a lot of prison time. But anyway, that's the board of directors basically was saying, no, wait until wait until the federal government's done investigating all this stuff, and all, because optics and everything, him coming back while he's being criminally investigated, doesn't look good for the company, right? So Vince basically used, like we've talked about before, he could do this, his being the sole majority shareholder, to say, well, if you don't bring me back and put me back on the board of directors, I'm not going to let any of the media contracts go through. As the majority stockholder, whether he was the single majority stockholder, controlling stockholder, or the majority stockholder, where even if he would have had like 40 to 60 with the rest of the company, being that sole majority stockholder, he could hold things up for a long time. Being that he's the single vast majority stockholder, he doesn't need anybody else to side with him. So, and he can call these kind of meetings at any time, being the sole majority stockholder. Right? You with me so far?
Yeah, yeah.
So basically, he held the company hostage to get put back on the board of directors. And yesterday afternoon or yesterday evening, he had also blackmailed the board into appointing him back to being chairman again. So
Damn.
he is back in charge of the company. Period.
Yeah, I think some shit gonna happen in this one.
Yeah. And to get back on the board, he had, as part of of what he did, 3 of the sitting board members were removed, and not only was he put back on, but 2 other people who are basically his lackeys were put onto the board of directors as well.
Yeah, that don't look good.
Mm-mm. But it's well within his power to do so as the sole majority stockholder, which is what we speculated could potentially happen on the channel on shows before, because of the fact that he does own well over 50% of the company's stock. I mean, give you an idea how much stock Vince owns in WWE. He sold off $1 billion worth of stock to start the XFL. Both times.
So now I guess this is kind of being picky, so this is more like semantics, I guess maybe. Can we really say that he blackmailed people if he's got all that power? Didn't he just leverage his power?
Well, if you look at the definition of blackmail, it's leveraging power to get what you want from somebody.
Yeah, but he's not like.
I know. He didn't do it illegally, is what your point is.
Uh,
But if you look at what blackmail is, it's essentially what he did, just not criminally.
yeah.
If you don't put me back on the board, I'm not going to let your business go through. That's a form of blackmail, whether it's legal or not.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably actually criminal. So you're probably right.
I don't think it's criminal, but it's extremely shady, underhanded business, is what it is. But
Yeah, it don't look
it's
good
not
on his part.
it's not criminal, because being the sole majority shareholder in that company, it's within his power to do that. If you
Yeah,
look
but
at
that's what I'm
this,
saying. The forcing them to do something for him or else is kind of like the blackmail thing.
yeah,
I don't know.
it It is in spirit. It is in spirit. It is. It's definitely blackmail. Legally speaking, it doesn't meet the criminal definition. 'Cause the criminal definition of blackmail, you have to be doing something to get illegal. It's you're trying to get somebody to do something, or you're going to expose them for having done something. So basically, you're holding somebody hostage. If you want to, we could say that he was going to hold the company hostage until they put him back on the board. We could say that, but even then, that still denotes a potential criminal thing. But in this case, it was legally holding the company hostage because, as the sole majority shareholder, he has the right to call a shareholder meeting. Any shareholder does, for that matter. It's just if you're the sole majority shareholder, your call for a shareholder meeting holds more weight than somebody who has maybe 10 shares of stock in the company. But any stockholder in a company can call for a shareholders meeting. And if that's called for, and it's about a company coming up with a new contract, the shareholders can vote down that contract being enacted. Which is why, when we've discussed it before, that's why Vince has all the power in the company. Even if he wasn't there at any time, he could just step up and say, "Nope, you're not doing that," and that's basically what he did here.
All right, so we know what you just said. Vince is putting pressure on people to get what he wants. That's all that we know, right?
Yeah, as far as set in stone, that's what we know. There's some speculation that this could be leading to a sale of the company,
Well,
and
that
one of the reasons why he could have wanted back on the board as badly as what he did, where he went to this extreme, as the sole majority stockholder, he has more to gain if he's on the board of directors when the sale goes through than if he's not.
okay. So well, then let's do some speculating then. From all the way to the business end to the entertainment side. Uh, do you think Vince is going to sell, or do you think Vince just needs to be back in there and have his hands all over it because he just has that?
Flip a coin, man. At this point, it could be either or.
Okay,
Because
so
Vince has that kind of personality where it could be he's just wanting to get the most out of it if they are planning on selling to somebody, or he's also a megalomaniac who just may have been like, "No, I got bad advice. I'm coming back and I'm taking my company back."
well, let's stick to the entertainment side because the funner conversation would be the entertainment side. The talking about Vince getting rich isn't. I mean, okay, Vince wants to get rich, and he can get richer if he's on the board.
Yeah.
Everybody pretty much understands what's going on there, and nobody probably really even cares. Now, for the spectator, the fan, the viewer, the consumer, like I talked about, like I typed in your chat the other day, uh, is this, you brought up Austin Theory. Is this going
Mm-hmm.
to turn the show back in a different direction? Because it's clearly going a different direction since Vince has been gone.
Yeah. He hasn't made any moves yet to be taking control of the creative process, which is the scripting and putting on the shows and everything. So the answer to that question is I don't know.
It's just a matter of time.
It,
You know
it,
he's gonna put his hands in it somewhere.
he's yeah. Eventually, I can't see him not doing it again because of his personality, the way he is. I mean, Vince micromanages everything. If you look at the history, is he going to go back to that route, or is he going to let if Triple H is doing a really good job? Is he going to say, okay, maybe I just need to stay out and let him do this? But as soon as Triple H had his cardio issue and couldn't be there to do anything with NXT, Vince swooped in and took over NXT and changed NXT from what it was under Triple H. Shawn Michaels under Triple H has been turning NXT back into Triple H's vision of NXT. So does that, it depends on Vince at this point. Is the best answer I can give you. If he was in it just to get the money, or if he's there because of control. And at this point, your guess is as good as mine on that one.
Like I mentioned in the off-air chat that I haven't had TV for basically since the basically since the last time we live streamed, and but I did catch the NXT show after the last live stream that we did, and the Bootios were down there, and my initial thought is, "Dag, the Bootios got demoted. What the heck is that about? Why would the Bootios get knocked down? I mean, I thought they were super popular."
Well,
And the crowd, and it's only what 1,000 people at an NXT show, something like that,
mm-hmm.
2,000 people. The crowd was so hyped when the Bootios came out, and then when the Bootios said that they were going to go for the world titles, I thought the building was going to fall apart. The crowd just went absolutely nuts, and
Yeah,
It'd be a shame to take that away from them and
yeah,
have Vince come back in and take away what's been built.
yeah. Which he did. I mean, as soon as Triple H went out with that cardio issue, Vince did. Vince went in there and with a wrecking ball and just totally destroyed what Triple H had built NXT into and turned it into what he wanted it to be. And by the way, at the NXT pay per view after what you just said, when New Day made their debut on NXT, the show that Jason and I did, were you there, Buck, for the NXT show we covered?
Uh, no, I don't think so.
Anyway, the New Day did win the NXT Tag Team Championships. They are the NXT Tag Team Champions right now. So, yeah, that which makes it even crazier to think that Vince could come in and just totally do what he did the last time to NXT. But we'll wait. Right now, it's just a wait and see thing as far as whether Vince is going to stick his nose into the creative process again or not. At this point, nobody.
You know
It,
he will.
yeah, which
He can't stand it.
which is gonna suck because even the main roster has gotten so much better since Vince hasn't been there. Like yesterday, like Kingpin mentioned, I brought up in the little chat that I did yesterday morning about how much better Austin Theory's character has gotten since Vince hasn't been there. Is Vince going to turn Austin Theory into a brown noser again if since he's taken over to control the company again?
Probably so.
Which would completely and totally suck because Austin Theory's character has gotten to be good.
Austin there, he is pretty good.
Well, then, actually, taking it back to the money situation, uh, you think about that too. You think about if Vince sells to me and you and Buck, then WWE is going to have a fantastic future because we're fans and we're interested in making it grow and seeing cool stuff and letting characters do what they want. But if he sells it to like Elon Musk and Elon Musk fires 75% of the people, I can't, well, actually, apparently Twitter's a lot better now. So take that Elon Musk part back. But sells it to John Q Corporation, and John Q Corporation comes in and ruins it. So, either Vince comes back and ruins it, or John Q Public Corporation that he sells it to ruins it.
My worst fear, if you remember, we talked about this like a year ago. The rumor was that Disney was interested in buying it. My worst fear is Disney buys it and does to WWE what Disney did to Marvel and Star Wars.
Well, that's the problem is the corporation Pepsi or whoever buys it, NBC, USA Network, they're going to make it go all woke and trendy, and they're also going to corporatize it. So they'll kind of come out with like NASCAR jackets on with a bunch of sponsors all over their stuff instead of Vince needs sponsors, he needs commercials and all that kind of stuff, but he doesn't need his guys to come out with Coca-Cola spandex pants on to advertise.
Mm. Yeah, that's one thing that Vince doesn't allow, and they haven't changed that since Vince was gone. Is the corporate sponsorship for the individual wrestlers and stuff. Like the only person that was allowed was Brock Lesnar, and that was only when he was doing the UFC thing at the same time. And if you remember, Brock would come out, he'd have the Jimmy John's logo and stuff on his trunks. Since he's not doing the UFC stuff anymore, he doesn't have the Jimmy John's logos on his trunks anymore. But the only corporate sponsorship would be at the pay-per-views, like this pay-per-view brought to you by Snickers or something along those lines, because let's face it, you still need something to offset the cost of those kinds of things.
Well, yeah, and that's cool. If you want to paint, you want to, put a big Snickers bar in the middle of the ring as like the painting on the ring. That's all cool and all that kind of stuff. But I don't need, you know, what's the Usos coming down, snapping into a Slim Jim in the middle of the ring. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep, I know exactly what you mean. You know, like you said, the track suits. You don't need the wrestlers coming out wearing NASCAR track suits or fire suits. Or to have GM AC Delco like Dale Earnhardt used to.
Well, like I was mentioning a little earlier, uh, I'm kind of surprised. When I was a kid, wrestling was my thing. My buddy that lived down the street from me would always get like Starcade and the Crockett Cup, and then he'd tell
Mm-hmm.
me all about it. The next day or whatever. And so wrestling was always cool. I had all the action figures and all that kind of crap. And then eventually I just stopped watching it. I guess like a lot of other people do. And then I couldn't get interested in it because I'd be at my friend's house and I'd see it on the TV and I'd be like, man, that looks stupid. Or my nephew would come over and he'd want to watch it, and then I'd see the Bootios dancing around with cereal and pink underwear on. I'm like, what's going on here? But since I've been doing the show with you, man, I'm a fan again. Like I really look forward. Like the whole time my TV hasn't been working, I'll be like, man, it's Wednesday. I could be watching A&E right now.
You could have watched streaming. Uh,
I believe me. This the same reason I'm not putting the Kingpin character back up is the reason I'm not going to stream wrestling matches.
well, no, I mean that Xfinity has an app, and you could have streamed the same thing on
No.
which by the way, they also have the apps for TVs, which makes the cable boxes that you're renting for $10 a fucking month absolutely pointless.
Yeah. I highly recommend anybody who watches this spend a week without your television. I haven't been on the internet more than 2 hours since the last time you streamed that I was on. That's
Yeah,
whatever day that was.
you know what I've been doing most of the time since Christmas, since I took that break at Christmas, playing video games. I haven't been really watching TV. Haven't really been doing the internet thing either. When I decided I was taking that time period off, I just stepped away. I may have looked at Twitter a few times. So that's about the most I've done.
I opened YouTube because I played these long form videos that I like to listen to, Bible study and this that
Mm,
Indian guy that I used to make videos about. But as far as like this, no, I've been
yeah, I've
I'm
been
not.
watch. Yeah, I have watched a couple of YouTube videos. I've been watching like CES coverage for the latest tech stuff and that. But as far as politics and stuff like that, I've basically just like stepped back. Took took the time that I decided I wasn't doing anything like to recharge the batteries and stuff. I wasn't getting into all that. Any political news and stuff I was getting was from people I follow on Twitter. But we can talk about that kind of stuff tomorrow night because that's the show where we're supposed to talk about that kind of stuff.
So did we do you have any more that you wanted to throw in on the Vince McMahon thing, Buck, before we move on?
No, I knew he was gonna get his ass in trouble. So
Yeah, hold up, wait a second. So, aside from the wrestling, what about Vince's sexual harassment accusations and all that kind of stuff?
That's being investigated by the federal government, which is why the board of directors didn't want to put him back on the board, and he used his power with being the sole majority stockholder to force his hand to get him put back on the board. That's why the board of directors were like initially were saying no, because he
Yeah,
is being investigated by the federal government right now.
but that's what like. So that's still just ongoing.
Yeah,
Like no
that's
other
still an
information.
ongoing thing. Yeah,
No, they haven't said anything. No leaks or nothing.
no, nothing that's been reported that I've seen anyway.
Right. Well, Rich, do you have anything? Any final comments on Vince McMahon before we move on?
No, I've said my piece.
You guys want to go watch that match now, or do you got something else you want to cover?
Well, we could go watch the match now, or we could do the 2022 year in review part, because that was the other thing I had scheduled. I had thought about doing was we just talk about and like what we thought our match of the year and that kind of thing was.
Well, I would say since that's a new match for 2023, then we might as well get the year in review out of the way and then start with the new match.
All right, so man, last year was a crazy year. A lot went down last year. I mean, obviously the biggest story last year is what we were just talking about, the Vince McMahon thing, right? Because you had the initial reports and then Vince being forced out of the company. This was started back in June of last year, if I remember right, when the first allegations came out, and then Vince stepped down and retired. So that's got to be the. Are we all in agreement that's got to be the biggest story to come out of professional wrestling last year?
yeah, I can agree on that. And it's kind of at the top of the list.
I don't know. Ric Flair has got some pretty popular weed now, so that might be the biggest story of the year. You know,
Oh
I
my
never thought Ric Flair would have weed, but apparently
man!
people were quite fond of it.
Don't put it past Ric Flair to do anything that's going to make Ric Flair money. The son of a bitch is already talking about doing another last match
My friend
because of
was
how much money he made on the last one.
my friend was talking to me about the Ric Flair weed, and he thought he had died lately or recently. And I was like, no, man. And I keep thinking back to that promo that he does for his interview on wrestling TV or whatever it is, or you know how they have like the documentaries,
Mm.
and he's sitting there going, what did he say? Darn, I'm going to get it wrong. How many people told me that I should have been dead already, or something like that? And he just
Let's be
busted out.
honest, Ric Flair should be dead by now.
Yeah. Well, he said that, and then he leaned back and did that Ric Flair laugh. So every time my friend was like, "No, man, Ric Flair's dead," I just thought of that. Yeah, well, he should be dead, but he's not.
No, Ric Flair's in surprisingly good condition, all things told.
What's up with the girl? Is she still broke up? Didn't she have like a broken shoulder or something?
Who, his daughter?
Yeah.
No, she returned on SmackDown like a week ago and won the SmackDown Women's Championship.
From who?
Ronda.
Oh, okay. So Bianca Belair is still that other one.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
the Raw Women's Champion.
All right.
Yeah, Charlotte of all people came out as a babyface to challenge heel Ronda after being gone and not doing shit for months.
Well, she
And
was hurt, wasn't she? I thought she got hurt.
she she was getting married and having surgery is why she was gone, yeah.
All right. Yeah.
But being Charlotte Flair, she just goes right to the top of the contenders list.
Okay. Here's one. Here's a contender for hottest story of wrestling year. CM Punk.
Oh
and
yeah, that was another
and the
one.
brawl.
Yeah, that I would say that's probably number two for biggest story in wrestling last year. Yeah, we still don't know what's going on with Punk, if he's going to be coming back to AEW or not. There's still guys that are taking Punk's side saying he should come back. There's other guys saying no, they don't want Punk back. So yeah, that was definitely a big story last year, and that only happened in the last few months because that was what, September when that happened.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds about right.
yeah, yeah, that would have been the beginning of September.
I guess I could concede to the Vince McMahon being the biggest story, considering it's Vince McMahon, and I
Hmm.
mean, Vince McMahon is wrestling. I mean, whether you like him or not, he he's responsible for it all. He's made it what it is. So yeah, he'd have to be the biggest story.
Yeah,
I can
that
concede.
that's let's face it. If it wasn't for Vince, the popularity that wrestling reached in the 80s and 90s would never have happened.
Well, he's like John Force. You say John Force, and everybody knows who John Force is. But if you say Antron Brown, nobody knows who Antron Brown is. But Antron Brown wins all his races, and John Force doesn't. But John Force is racing. Like
Yeah,
he is drag racing, whether you like it or not. John Force is what made drag racing what it is.
yeah. It's like back in the 90s. If you said Dale Earnhardt, everybody knew who the fuck you were talking about.
Yeah. Or like Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is the best person. There's never been a person on this planet better with a steering wheel than Kyle Busch. You just can't. But Dale Earnhardt's the one that everybody knows. Krabby
Well,
Turtle's out there.
I would argue there's a guy by the name of Richard Petty.
No, no. But the reason you could put Kyle Busch in a car that when you turn it right, it turns left, and when you turn it left, it turns right, and he's still going to drive that thing without complaining.
Yeah, Richard Petty only holds records for most races won.
Well, no, I'm not taking Richard Petty's amazing. I love Richard Petty. I'm just talking about.
And he had a couple of them on the roof of the car.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, there was, what was it, Talladega, where he literally was on the roof of
Yeah,
the car. The car was on its roof as
yeah.
across the finish line.
Yeah, Richard Petty is the shit. Oh, good to see you, Krabby. I'm glad to be here, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
Krabby.
yeah. Evening, Krabby.
All right, we'll give Krabby the quick rundown. Uh, we talked a bunch of trash just about wrestling and all the different kind of stuff like that, and then we covered Vince McMahon and all the stuff that's going on with him. And right now we're doing the 2022 year in review, and then after that, there's a match from 2023 that we're gonna watch and comment on.
Yeah, Krabby. If you haven't seen Kenny Omega challenging Will Ospreay for the IWGP United States Championship from Wrestle Kingdom this year, do yourself a favor and do so. If you wanted to, shit, I don't think I sent him a link. I can send him a link real quick, and he can jump in and watch this shit too with us. But well, not shit because it's not bad. It's really good actually. But yeah, let me see. Is this going to be both links? Yes, this will be both links you're going to get, Krabby. So hold on a second.
You got anything on top of your mind for 2022 that was memorable? Oh,
Now, the only thing really comes to mind is that Vince McMahon thing, because I don't think it's going to be good for 2023, not for WWE.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where this goes, and not necessarily in a good way.
All right. What else? What else do you want to run down from 2020, 2022?
Oh,
Hey, I
something.
got one question here, real quick.
Yeah.
Yo,
Hey, has any of the wrestlers left since Vince McMahon got it all this shit?
no, in
Not
fact,
not not being laid off in it. I'm talking about like Just trying to get out the contract or anything?
No, not yet. Some
Not yet.
people are saying that they're not going to be happy if Vince ends up back in charge of things.
Buck just reminded me. What about, remember at the beginning of last year when you were pulling your hair out, going, "Everybody's getting fired, everybody's contracts, everybody, oh man, what's going on?" Like, whatever happened with that? Like, that kind of just seemed to have went away.
That's because Triple H was bringing some of those people back.
Right
Triple
on.
H has brought back uh, a couple of the NXT people. He's brought back William Regal. William Regal got out of his AEW contract, and what Tony Khan allowed him out of the contract because Regal wanted to go back to WWE to work with his son, who's signed to NXT. So Tony Khan let him out of his contract with the stipulation that William Regal cannot appear on TV for WWE for another year, which would have been the length of Regal's contract. So William Regal is back working for WWE in a vice president's role, working primarily with NXT and some other recruiting type stuff. So that's something that's happened. Um, and as far as people that were not let go because they threw a temper tantrum, Sasha Banks is now signed with the parent company of New Japan Pro Wrestling and will be appearing at various shows for New Japan and Stardom.
I saw Sasha Banks in a commercial for something the other day. I don't know what it was. It was maybe a candy bar or a soda or something like that. But she was definitely in a TV commercial I saw the other
Yeah, and there's some speculation that she may be signing with AEW as well. And she is now using the name Mercedes Moné.
day.
And she's got this weird ass freaking hairdo.
Like she didn't before.
Oh no, at least before it was one Keller. Now her hair looks like moldy cheese.
Oh, all right.
It's blonde and
Damn.
green.
What else we got in the 2022 year in review? We watched a lot of pay-per-views
Yeah.
and
What
special
would
events.
Okay, out of the matches that you remember from last year, what would you say was your match of the year?
Oh man, I'm
Well,
trying
I
to.
I
Yeah.
thought mine was going to be that exploding barbed wire fence match, but
That
it
was two
wasn't.
years ago, Buck.
Oh, was that 2 years ago? Well, it's still stuck in my mind. I'm
There
sorry.
you go. That one, the barbed wire exploding match gets to be one of those over number ones. Like whatever's better than number one, that's what the barbed wire extension match is.
Yeah, but that would have had to have been like for 2021.
It doesn't matter. It's forever. Every year from now on, that match is out of the running because it's so high.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, you know how Budget on his show does moron of the week, and I say we need to retire Joe Biden because he'll never lose.
Yeah, that's what I'm going at. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, how disappointing was that, man? Thanks for reminding me, Buck.
Oh, the match itself was good. It was the ending
Yeah,
because the damn thing
yeah.
didn't do what it was supposed to do. The
They had like
te- technical failure.
they had like 10,000 tacks laying in the middle of the ring, a bunch of two
Yeah.
by fours laying in. I mean, it's like everything under the ring was in the ring.
And then Kingston jumps on Moxley to save her from the explosion, and the explosion never happens because the damn electronics fucked up.
And
How about
whatever explosion was that sounded like a fucking firecracker.
Yeah, you had a puff of smoke come out of all four corners, and that was it.
like like when Bugs Bunny would mess with Elmer Fudd's gun and he pulled the trigger
Uh,
and the flag would come out and say pop.
yep,
What
that's
about the
essentially
dude?
what it
What
was.
about the turnbuckle that fell apart on that guy?
Oh, was that last year, or was that late
I think it was
2021?
last year.
That could have been last week, and I
That was
wouldn't be
Finn
surprised.
Balor, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
he won't Finn
Balor
Balor
was
then.
about to hit Reigns with his finisher.
Yeah, he was that demon dude or whatever
Yeah,
when the knee fell out, when the ring fell down.
yeah. But okay, now no, what, getting beyond the comedy aspect. Match of the year, the matches you remember.
Krabby says he says I remember enjoying most of the pay per views we saw this year. So I agree. I think progressively, and I admit it was probably me just being overly judgmental. But progressively, the matches have gotten better and better. And I think, like I said, once again, it's just me relaxing and not being as critical as well.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go on a limb and say, and I'm going to say Kingpin's match of the year is going to be the women's ladder match from Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I'll probably go ahead and say that too. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I mean,
Yeah, I think was that the last ladder match
no, there have
that
been
we
ladder
seen.
matches. No, there have been ladder matches since then, but that ladder match was just fire.
Yeah,
It
maybe
was.
that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, that was a whole lot better than the men's on that one.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Now, for me, match of the year, the Briscoes. This is a match. I don't think you guys have seen. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. The Briscoes challenging FTR at the last ROH pay per view. My God, did they beat the shit out of each other in that match? I mean, we talked about this on the show because I think it was the show right before we took the Christmas hiatus from here because of not being home the one weekend and then Christmas being the weekend after that and everything. FTR came out in white trunks. They left in red trunks.
I saw Wednesday the two dudes, the little homo dudes, were in the
Mm.
ring talking trash about a TRF people or FTR people,
You
and
talking about
then
Billy Gunn's kids?
I guess the two guys that beat him up this weekend or whatever.
Yeah, they're those are Billy Gunn's kids.
Yeah, one of them wears a man bun and the other one
Uh
wears
huh.
ladies' shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then they had the posters of those guys in the ring. Did was that like a end of the career match? Was that a
No,
retirement
no,
match?
no, no. Those two just being dicks.
Ah, okay. Well, they were good
That's
at it.
their character is that they're dicks.
Yeah, they were pretty good at it.
Hmm.
The people were not happy with them.
No.
damn, Rich. You said the Briscoes.
Yeah.
My mind took a leap way back.
No, not those Briscoes.
I was going to say them old
No.
fuckers are too old to fight.
Hey man, the Rock and Roll Express is still out there wrestling. But no, not Jerry Briscoe and what the hell was his brother's name?
I don't know. I'm trying to think too. Was it Jerry and David Briscoe or something?
Fuck, I can't remember.
I remember Jerry Briscoe though.
Yeah, Jerry. Well, Jerry Briscoe was one of Vince McMahon's
Yeah,
stooges during the
well,
Attitude Era.
yeah.
God, now I can't remember. Damn it, I cannot remember what Gerald Briscoe's brother's name is.
That the one match I think it
Gerald and Jerry Briscoe. That's who it was.
No, Jerry is Gerald. Jerry is
Oh,
short for Gerald.
huh.
there was a match on a prelim. I It was the first match of the pay per view, and I think it was like a 3-man tag match, and it was the best match I've ever seen, easily. It was such a fantastic. The people did so, and I can't remember. I think it might have been a New Japan joint.
Mm,
I'm
yeah,
pretty
Mike.
sure it was a New Japan joint because there was an Asian dude in the match.
Krabby, no, that's the new Briscoes. We're talking about the old Briscoes. Krabby said Jay and Mark. No, that's the two that beat FTR. That's not the two old guys from back in like the 70s.
What about Jack?
Yeah,
What about
Jack
Jack?
Briscoe.
Jack.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
Gerald and
yeah,
Jack
that's it.
Briscoe. Yes.
I bet you looked that up on Google, didn't you?
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at. Yeah. Looking at the Gerald Briscoe guy, looks like somebody I might have seen before, but I know I had no idea who the Jack person.
Yeah, Jerry Briscoe was working backstage with WWE for years. His back during the Attitude Era, he became Vince's on-screen lackey too, and was always involved in different things with Vince. Hell, he was still wrestling back in the '80s. Probably saw him on an NWA show at some point. Okay, I'm trying. Worst. What would be the worst match of last year? God, you always remember the good ones. It's the bad ones you don't remember.
Oh, it was that damn ladder match with Cody Rhodes, where he swung at that one guy and missed him by 3 foot, and the guy fell back like he was hit. It was a ladder match.
I don't even remember.
Was that the match? Was that the match that Cody Rose's shoulder was all bruised up?
Yeah,
No,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
match where Cody was all bruised up, that was a Hell in a Cell match.
yeah, but this
That
was
was
a
a
no,
good
this
match.
was no, this was after that because his shoulder was messed up a little bit, and
No,
he
the
got
Hell in
up
a
on
Cell
the.
match was the last one he did before he took time off.
I
Or maybe
remember
it was
what Buck
just
was
before that.
talking about. Buck swung at him like I'm swinging at you right now. Like we're so far apart, we're not even in the
Yeah,
same
he
state.
missed him by 3 foot.
That may have been his last match in AEW that you're thinking of,
Could be because
because his
after that,
back was all
yeah, because
his back was
whatchamajigger
all
took him
messed
to
up because
Iron Anderson was with him or something.
yeah, that was probably his last match in
Yeah,
AEW because his back at that point was all messed up because like couple weeks before that he had gone through a burning table and his back was all burnt. So that could be what you're thinking. So yeah, that was
yeah,
probably that his last match in AEW because the one where he was with the shoulder and everything that was in WWE. He had injured it in training, and that was right before the Hell in a Cell match with him and Seth, where everybody was amazed how well Cody did in that damn Hell in a Cell match because of tearing his pec the way he did.
What
And
about
I remember when he took his robe off for that match, we all like did one of those kind of things because you could just he did not look good.
the dude? Uh, I'm pretty sure he works for A&E. He's like, oh, crazy big strong man, and he picked up those two black dudes and blew his knee out.
Oh no, that was in WWE. That was Riddick Moss, who go Madcap Moss. He went and pick up was it the Usos?
Yeah, yeah.
And his knee blew out. Yeah.
And then I didn't get to see the match, but hopefully he's big bootio. He got
Oh,
busted up.
where you guys neck broke? Yeah, that was back in March last year. Yeah, there was some really nasty injuries last year, all of them in WWE. Nonetheless, you had Cody with that pectoral tear, Riddick Moss when he blew his knee out, and Big E getting his neck broke.
and you can't forget about Goldberg and his knee problem. I guess that was last year, wasn't it?
I don't even know what you're talking. I'm not even remembering the reference to Goldberg hurting his knee, Buck. So I can't even answer you.
Uh,
Uh,
no, we watched it on pay per view.
I don't honestly. I don't remember.
They just come back. I forgot who in the hell he was wrestling.
We're all in agreement that Ronda Rousey still sucks, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Damn. She's in a commercial for some video game now.
Doesn't surprise me.
Any more 2022 year in review stuff?
I'm still trying to think of the worst match. Like I said, the bad ones are the ones you tend to forget.
We gave we gave a lot of matches. Not just me being a jerk, but I think it was a good consensus that a lot of matches got ones and zeros too. It was, it was
Krabby says, "Remember when I called Lesnar coming back and beating everyone for?" Yes, I did. I called exactly what was going to happen at the Royal Rumble. We were watching the pre-show, and I sat here and called everything that was going to happen with regarding Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble, and it was spot on. I called it exactly the way it went down. That's when he lost the belt. I think it was Lashley, and came back and won the Royal Rumble and challenged Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I don't remember. I think that was last year though, wasn't it? Not this, or 2021. I don't remember. Was that? That was 2021, wasn't it? I don't think that was 2022. But I remember I called the whole thing.
that one. There was the disappointment. Liv Morgan cashed in the Money in the Bank and had the title for like 5 minutes.
I'm not. She held the title for a few weeks.
I know, but she still.
Yeah, she won it, cashed the belt in, and then promptly lost the belt at SummerSlam to Ronda Rousey.
I think the females need more girls if they're going to have a females division because Liv Morgan is too small to be holding a world championship belt. With
Mm-hmm.
that dude that's hangs out with Damian Priest. By the way, what they're doing with the Damian Priest thing, they're taking him out of that purple stuff and stop putting color on him, and they're kind of like all going black. That seems to be working pretty well.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, the Judgment Day is a good faction. Finn Balor,
yeah, the people like those people.
her, what's her? I still for the life of me can't remember her fucking name. Uh, uh, Damian Mysterio.
Yeah,
His
I
name?
don't like. I
No,
don't.
not Damian Mysterio. What the? What
Damian
the?
Priest and Rey Mysterio.
Damian Priest. Yeah, Rey Mysterio's kid. What the hell is his name?
He sucks. He's the worst.
Yeah,
He's
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 the.
terrible.
Yeah, but the other they could dump him and just stick with the other three, and it would be much better.
They could get. He doesn't. I don't think he's got what it takes to be
No,
in professional wrestling.
no. Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, I was going to say Dominic.
I knew it was something with a D, but
But
yeah,
it,
Damian Priest, man, Damian Priest was really good in NXT. If you go back and watch some of the old NXT stuff from that he was on, when he was down there.
yeah, if he was challenging for a world heavyweight title, I could believe that. Like going back
Mm-hmm.
to the Liv Morgan thing, that's why Liv Morgan's not talented enough to make you believe that she could beat that dude, or
Which is
even
why there are
Bianca
different shows.
Belair. The dude, if Liv Morgan's standing there in front of the dude, and the dude is gonna grab her by her face and crush her head, Bianca Belair is gonna pick her up and throw her out of the ring. So she's not talented enough to make you believe that she could fight these big girls. So they need other small girls, but they need a bunch of them. I don't know. It's weird. The women got a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are y'all thinking? 2022. Who had the worst matches, the girls or the guys?
Girls by far.
Yeah, that's easy. Girls.
There was quite a few of the women's matches where we gave 1 or 2 stars.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty goddamn close on some of them matches.
Yeah, there was a lot of really terrible guys matches.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
women by far had more of the bad ones. It's just when the women had really good matches, they were really good. Per case and point is the women's ladder match at Money in the Bank last year. That match was excellent.
What made that match really go over for me was the level of leave it all on the field, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Those girls looked like they were trying to kill themselves.
Yes.
And it was stunning. Move after move after move. You were like, how in the hell did they convince you to do that?
Yeah, that's that match where Becky Lynch started wearing them weird outfits, ain't it?
That was a problem. Becky Lynch needs to
Yeah.
stop that.
Oh, she did. She doesn't wear the weird stuff anymore. Seth still does. Becky doesn't. I guess they decided to stop sharing clothes from the same closet. I say that because they're married.
Seth Rollins is an oddity in my because I can't understand why he is loved by everybody. I mean,
Because he's good.
the
Seth,
fans absolutely can't get enough of Seth freaking Rollins.
Seth Rollins is good in the ring. That's why. You watch some of Seth Rollins matches, the guy is just good at what he does. Seth Rollins is this generation's Shawn Michaels.
It's just it's crazy. Whenever you see him in the ring, everybody in the stadium is reacting to him.
Mm-hmm. And right now, his character is just being a crazy person. that's that's all. He just goes out there. He does all kinds of crazy shit. The outfits he's wearing and stuff. But when it comes time to get in that ring and do his thing, he is probably one of the best in the business right now.
I've got one for us. Which company had the best year? AEW, WWE, which means NXT as well. Well, no, we'll split it all up. NXT, WWE, AEW, or New Japan.
Hmm.
Obviously, we don't have very much of a sample size for New Japan.
No, you guys don't anyway.
Well, yeah, we.
I want to go with New Japan for one reason. The COVID mandate shit that's been going on over there has been getting slowly lifted, and you see the crowds getting bigger, and it just makes the shows better.
Yeah, yeah, that was disappointing when we watched that other, and they had the crowd so jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Buck?
Well, WWE's got too much talking and bullshitting in it.
Well, they always have.
It's a
Yeah.
problem. Problem.
But I'm gonna say AEW.
Yeah, I've got to
Um,
agree. I think AEW. It's what I think of most, like when I'm sitting around going, "Oh, wrestling," and AEW is what I look for first. And then what Buck's saying, from the experience that we have watching the shows online, WWE's got tons of turn and mute button on, and let's talk about guns. Uh, AEW not nearly as much. AEW you got to stay on top of the game. New Japan, it's hey, they started the second match while the first match was still going.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
Krabby
they
says
don't.
not WWE.
Yeah, with New Japan, if you want to watch the promos and stuff, you gotta watch the after match comments that they put out in a video package. That's where they do all their promo work. Like they do like little mini news conferences with the participants in each of the matches after the match. You can hear where the other matches in the background are going on during the but that they so it's more like a sports thing. Like after the football game, they'll interview the football players. That's basically the way New Japan does their promo sections segments. They don't do the talking out in the ring and stuff. Talking's done in the back, or the ring is for wrestling. The only ones that really do talking during the wrestling part of the show in the ring is whoever wins the main event.
Is Ring of Honor still a thing? Are they still
Ring of
going?
Honor, that's a story that broke last year that we can get into because it's a big story as well. Ring of Honor is going to be AEW's streaming service essentially. They're going to have, but Ring of Honor is going to have their own show on it. It's going to be streamed online, from what Tony Khan was saying, and a lot of the roster from AEW is going to be mostly the guys that were in Ring of Honor are going to be going over to that show, which is why you see lately different people holding Ring of Honor championships and stuff because they're setting up for when Ring of Honor streaming service starts.
And when is that supposed to start? Do you know?
Sometime first or second quarter of this year. So anytime now it can it'll start. I don't remember if Tony Khan gave a set deadline on that or not, but that was part of the announcements that were made around the time of Ring of Honor's last pay per view back in December.
Because it seemed like every time I turned the damn TV on last year, that's all I seen. Ring of Honor wrestling.
Yeah, it almost at one point seemed like they were going to break off Rampage from being an AEW show and make that the Ring of Honor show, because that's where you saw most of the Ring of Honor guys at one point was on Rampage. But
Yeah.
that's not what they're doing. But
And I think Ring of Honor kind of split the women in one thing and the guys in another, didn't they? Like they
no,
didn't have them mixed. Because I was watching one last year, it was just
well, it
all
wasn't.
women.
Yeah,
I think it was called Ladies
yeah,
of RHO,
yeah,
ROH.
ladies of honor or something like that.
Yeah,
But yeah, they had a women's division, but they didn't have a women's championship until late into the game. But if you look at what they're doing with the Ring of Honor championship and the television championship and all that stuff, they're putting stuff back on the old ROH guys. Like Jericho lost the Ring of Honor championship to Claudio. Claudio's in the Ring of Honor guy before he went over to WWE. Samoa Joe was a Ring of Honor guy. He's now the Ring of Honor champion, television champion, and just lost the TNT championship to Darby Allin. So it looks like they're going to move Joe over to Ring of Honor. It looks like they're moving Claudio over to Ring of Honor. They put the Ring of Honor Pure Championship back on Wheeler Yuta, which looks like Danny Garcia is going to stay on AEW, and then Yuta's going to go over to Ring of Honor. So it looks like they're moving the Blackpool Combat Club, with the exception of maybe Moxley and maybe Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson now, excuse me, because he doesn't use this WWE name, over to Ring of Honor, or they're going to have or they're going to be a cross show faction, kind of like how Bullet Club is.
Well, remember I told you that guy Daniel Bryan is getting into a big beef with MK Joe. MK Joe.
KJO. Whoa, really, Krabby? You're in a feud
whoop
with
his ass,
MJF.
Krabby. Whoop his ass.
That other guy, the new Ric Flair guy.
Yeah, MJF.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, Bryan Danielson versus Krabby. Book it. I'm gonna do my Vince McMahon. Book it. That's some good shit.
Me and Krabby will show up with some Baltimore boys, and we'll take care of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What? I bought candy bars.
Huh?
I bought Zagnut bars, but I think they're still in the meat bag. If the meat bag, I don't want blood getting on it. You know what I mean?
Okay. I don't know.
Damn, now I want a candy bar.
You ever had a Zagnut bar? Do they sell those down there in Arkansas?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, I used to get those fresh off the assembly line because my grandfather worked for Clark Candy.
What made you start thinking about that? You guys watching Beetlejuice?
Why?
Remember
Well,
that little Zagnut bar he was holding up trying to catch the fly?
Yeah.
Brittany took them out. Did you hear me? I said Brittany took them out.
All right. Any last call on the 2022 year in review?
Not that I can think of right now.
He's a Zagnut bar.
Nice.
Not as good as when they're fresh off the assembly line.
You worked for the factory that made those?
My grandfather did.
So how did you get them fresh off the line?
because my grandfather would bring them home in a big plastic bag before they were even put in a wrapper.
That's not necessarily fresh off the line.
Yeah, they would come fresh off the line, and
If your
they would put them.
grandpa picked one up off the line and ate it,
He
that's
walked. No, he walked. He would pack them in a plastic bag right off the assembly line, and on his way home from work, would walk right past our house and drop them off.
like, I worked at a bakery and I worked at a donut factory, so I can see. I understand what you
What, Timmy?
You know, they don't have. They didn't sit in a warehouse getting stale before you bought them at your local
mean. Yeah, I
grocery
know.
store.
I get it. I was just giving you a hard time. You ready to go watch this fight?
Well, if there's nothing else you can think of for 2022 that we need to discuss,
Yeah, I think we're done. Yeah.
right, I'm gonna
I think
finish.
so.
All right, folks. If you want to watch along with us, you need to go find Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom 17 from January 4th of this year. Because this match was brilliant. You guys seeing that over on the other StreamYard tab?
Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty. So give the folks a couple minutes if there's anybody else out there who hasn't spoken to us, because Krabby's the only one talking if anybody else is out there. And remember, if you don't say something, we don't know you're there.
Now this is a New Japan match.
Yes.
Okay.
What gave you that idea? Or
Well,
that Japanese writing?
the Japanese writing kind of threw it off, and then if you look at the crowd, there's only like a
Yeah.
thousand people
You see
there.
those? No, there was 25,000. This is just people on the floor. There were people up in the stands as well. Usually, before COVID hit, all those empty spaces would have been filled in with people.
Yeah.
This was their largest crowd since COVID hit.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's people in the black that we can't see, like up in the
Mm-hmm.
nosebleeds and stuff. I'm just talking about right there in the picture
Yeah.
on the floor.
Yeah, this is an indoor baseball stadium.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Like real baseball?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Not,
baseball's huge over in Japan.
yeah, I understand that, but this isn't like this is a tiny ass baseball stadium.
Tokyo Dome is the main baseball stadium in Japan.
I guess maybe just the picture makes it look small. I mean, we're
Yeah.
also only getting
Yeah, that ring
a
is like the
fraction of
mid.
the picture. Yeah.
Yeah, that ring is like in the middle of the field, so you're not seeing the whole field there.
I fire it up, man. Let's go.
All right, let me go over to that.
Are you coming in, Krabby?
He is. He's over on. He's on the watch side.
All right, cool.
All right, hitting play. Oh, I'll give you guys the timestamp for it if you're out there looking for it. It's at the 3 minute 38 second, 3 minute, no 3 hour. Excuse me, 3 hour 38 minute, roughly 47 second mark, and I'm hitting play now. So
Is it going to be narrated in Japanese?
no, this is the ring announcer. The ring announcer is a Japanese guy. Remember, they're in Japan.
Well, yeah, that's why I asked if it was broadcast in Japanese.
No, this is the English broadcast. Can you hear it? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear it fine.
Yeah, it's always too loud for me. Come on.
Anybody who's played Final Fantasy VII should recognize this music. Oh, that was a hell of a match too back then. Jericho versus Omega. Uh, and if anybody out there is wondering, yes, I am wearing my Kenny Omega T-shirt. And for those of you who aren't able to watch but are just listening to us, Kenny Omega made his entrance to Sephiroth's music from Final Fantasy VII.
How much longer is this intro?
Well, this is Will Ospreay coming out now.
Yeah, I know. Is it going to be 15 minutes before they start fighting?
Hey man, it's the biggest show of the year, and they got a long way to walk. That ramp is extremely long.
Yeah, but we've got the magic of fast forward.
You don't want to watch the entrances?
Well, no, I don't know. Entrance, but I'm saying, are they going to be 20 minutes doing this?
Not quite 20. They're not the Undertaker. Come on. The Undertaker would have 5 feet and would take to get to the ring, and it would take him 20 hours.
Yeah.
The crazy part is, after this match, the next night, both guys wrestled again. By the time this match is over, you will understand why I said the crazy part is that they wrestled the next night. Both of these guys wrestled the next night. Ospreay there with his entire faction. Well, not the entire faction, because Gideon Gray wasn't there for some reason. Man, I am getting goosebumps. I've watched this match. I know what's going to happen. This is, if I remember right, this is only the second time that Ospreay and Omega have been in the ring together for a match. No, third time. Second time, because I almost forgot they had that trios match earlier in the year for the AEW Trios Championship tournament.
Are they supposed to be like buddies or something like that?
No, they don't like each other. At least in the storyline, they don't like each other. I don't know if they like each other backstage or not. But notice you can hear the crowd.
Yeah.
They still have to wear the silly face diapers. That ramp is made up of teeny tiny little LED lights. One of the matches that happened before this, they did a DDT power driver kind of move on one dude on there. Instantly just split him wide open.
Damn, that was a pretty good move.
Yeah, Osprey is a heavyweight that wrestles like a light heavyweight. I would love to see Will Osprey take on Seth Rollins. They have very similar wrestling style.
Well, you got Pool in WWE. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Just because I can predict what's going to happen with Brock Lesnar because it's extremely easy to do doesn't mean I have any pull with him.
Damn, that hurt my back.
That's tame compared to what happens. If that hurt your back, just wait. Krabby just said, "Damn." Yeah. Omega needs to get some lessons from Toru Yano on how to take those New Japan turnbuckles off. Yano would have had that thing off in 10 seconds.
George Animal Steel would have ate it off by that time.
I don't know. That's an awful big turnbuckle pad.
Oh,
I don't see how you don't get hurt every single time you do a backbreaker.
Yeah, it's one of those moves that's got to hurt both guys. Krabby said, going back to the backbreaker thing, they can't be good for your body long term. Yeah, either your lower back, if you're the guy taking it, or your knee for the person giving it.
That was pretty. I've never seen that reversal to the hold stunner thing you just did there.
Hmm.
yeah, that was pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, like I said, Osprey is a heavyweight that wrestles like a cruiserweight. The, the guy is just an amazing athlete. The moves that he pulls off for his size.
That was kind of neat too.
Yeah, I mean, moves like that aren't things you expect a guy that's like 6'1", 6'2", and weighs 230 to be pulling off. Osprey does it like their routine. Yeah, listen to those chops. Notice you hear anybody say about how that's the hardest part of the ring? If it were AEW or WWE, they've been harping about how that's the hardest part of the ring. No, that part of the ring has no give to it, Krabby. That's where Osprey gets one of the multitude of cuts he ends up with.
I don't think that was supposed to happen.
I don't think so neither.
What, Omega going through the table? Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you can tell by looking at that table that's not one of the breakaway ones. Because that one has the steel rail on it. Krabby again says, damn. This time in capital letters.
And that looked like it hit on the back of his head, didn't it?
Yeah, it looks like Omega hit
Yeah.
the rail with the back of his head, yeah. I didn't notice that part the first time I watched it, but yeah, I think you're right, Buck. I think he did.
That was a pretty neat move too.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do a whole lot of talking in this Japanese wrestling.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, this match here looks like all the moves have been very well executed.
Yeah.
Well, these are two of the best in the world right here. That would put both of these guys in the top five. In what order, I don't know, but these guys, Okada, trying to think of who the other two would be. Rollins, if he's allowed to go all out. Hmm.
One of the things I like about new wrestling is the guys jump off that middle rope a lot. They jump off the middle of the ring ropes, like
Mm-hmm.
the rope in the middle, but also the third rope on top, put in the middle a lot more than they did back in the day.
I'm not sure who else I would put in the top five right now.
Damn, his head ain't got nowhere to go.
Mm-mm. Yeah, keep in mind he's got that like he's like
Yeah, that's
Chris
steel
Charlton
right
just
there.
said, the steel right there in the back of his head too.
Damn, I'm glad we watched this now.
I told you, man, this match, and it's just start. Remember, this is still pretty much the beginning of the match too.
I'd like to sit down with these two guys and watch this match with them,
Get
and
their
then
reactions.
no, not even their not just their reactions, but like how were they choreographed?
Yeah, how they came up with what they're doing. Yeah, I get what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah. Oof. And somehow Osprey did not break his neck right there. Travis says, "Oh, what the? Oh my God!" Yeah, that's the reaction I had the first time I was watching it, and I had the reaction the second time I watched it. That was just brutal looking.
I hope they show a replay of that.
Japan, they don't show replays.
Oh, they don't. You may
No,
have to reverse that a little bit,
you
Rich.
want you want to see
Wait a
that
minute,
again?
they showed replays a couple times.
They don't generally show replays like what WWE does. See if I can remember where that was.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean he's bleeding bad, and
Yeah.
yeah, uh, it's not easy to find replay. Go back and look at things on this. Yeah, here, Here you go, Buck. I wish it was slow mo. I don't think you're slow. I don't think I can slow it down. Yeah, I can. Watch this. Boom! Off of the
Uh,
top of the
gotta.
turnbuckle.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. How did he not break his neck right there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he cut himself.
Oh, he was
Only,
already bleeding before that.
yeah, but yeah, he's got a big gash on his head now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was from the top turnbuckle on that DDT.
I think he cut himself. I think he got himself under the
Oh
ring.
no, when you see on Thursday night when he went out for his match, no, his face was all cut up. It wasn't just one spot where he got cut. I'm not saying he didn't blade on that cut to make it worse, but he was cut from the turnbuckle.
What the hell they have? A count of 20?
Yeah, they have a 20 count. And if you get counted out, you lose your championship. There is no championship advantage in New Japan. Yeah, the table just got a little bit worse.
That table don't look as wide as the regular tables.
No, the tables over in Japan are smaller. Which, if you think about it, actually makes those tables more solid.
The
Yeah, I was just
Japanese,
thinking the same thing.
the Japanese are tiny folk, so they
Hmm.
don't need big tables. What do you got to do to get disqualified in Japan?
Oh, it's got to be very, very bad to get disqualified.
How do you hit the referee?
Yeah, I know. Well, Red Shoes is known for that. Red Shoes is a rag doll. I've seen him take worse shots than that from wrestlers and not disqualify somebody. You know, the first match between Jericho and Omega, Jericho literally hit Red Shoes with a chair and didn't get disqualified.
Kenny Omega needs to cut his hair.
Osprey sells the injuries in this match really well too. Like right there where he stumbled climbing the rope. Ooh.
Ah, damn, I know that hurt.
This is reminiscent of the old matches between Terry Funk and Mick Foley. Only this isn't an actual sanctioned hardcore match like those were.
Damn, that was pretty good.
And there's where Kenny get the black eye.
I'd like to see this match on A&E. It's weird how they're not talking and they're kind of like just grunting and screaming because they can't. Doesn't do them a whole lot of good to speak a bunch of English to a bunch of Japanese people.
And there's the beginning of the end right there.
Ah, damn almighty.
So he just become a new champion.
Yes. Krabby says, "Jeez," in capital letters. Yeah, that comic Gary just looked nasty before he did the one wing angel. That knee. Oof. Can you imagine if that match would have went any longer?
Would have been into me after I hit that damn top turnbuckle.
Uh huh. And he hit it twice.
Yeah. He lucky he ain't hit all three of them going down like that.
Oh, especially on that DDT.
Yeah.
I really wish that was on like English speaking television. Uh, it was strange seeing him point to the crowd and go ugh ugh instead of like being able to like talk to the fans and stuff. It was weird.
Well, Kenny can. He speaks fluent Japanese.
Yeah, I know, but I mean that doesn't do us any good. Uh, that was pretty good. I'm a little surprised that the Will Ospreay guy got beat so badly. Like, that was pretty much all Kenny Omega the whole match. I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah,
Well,
it kind of looked like it would have been better.
if you stop and
Go ahead,
think
Rich.
about it, the whole reason why it was Omega, they were on equal footing until that DDT where he hit the top turnbuckle without the pad on it. That was the turning point. From that point, Osprey was the baby face in peril in the match.
Yeah, I know, but it just
There was a psychology to it.
for him being like a big badass, I figured he'd have put up a little bit better. It was a good match, and like Buck said earlier, all the moves were pretty much spot on. Uh, ex- really, really great execution. Obviously, they put on they put themselves through a whole lot during that match. Uh, took a lot of energy, took a lot of strength, and a lot of endurance, courage. I'll give it, I'll give it an 8 for sure. Yeah, that was a good match.
Krabby says he misses people standing in those signs. You don't see a whole lot of signs in Japan. What you'll see in Japan is because they sell like scarves and towels and and stuff like that people will hold up instead of like your traditional signs in Japan. Like over here, you'll see people with the big uh, poster board signs and stuff. You don't get that in Japan.
What do you think, Buck?
I think that would have been an awesome match if Omega would have got some blood on him if he had a cut or two.
And if he cut his hair,
Yeah, cut his hair. Yeah, that kind of looked like shit after the end of it. But I think I'll give that about a 9. That's pretty decent.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, beginning of the year, and they put on that match. Jesus Christ! Like, if they would have gone any farther, I don't know if they physically would have been able to walk the next day.
So what's the theory behind Omega becoming a champion? Like, is there something going on with the other guy, or is it just something they decided to go with?
With Japan, just something they decided to go to with. I mean, it's Japan. They do things different, but yeah, it's and they do have a close working relationship with AEW. Some of the speculation is that Kenny's going to defend that belt in the United States on AEW, maybe an Impact, maybe on New Japan Strong. Yeah, Krabby says a 9 on that from him.
Well, yeah, my thing is as far as an overall the viewing experience, it's problematic. The crowd is problematic. Uh, Non-English speaking, and the announcer, the announcers were like the local news reporter was doing the announcing. Uh, if it was on A&E or AEW, I would probably have been able to push it up to a 9, maybe a little higher, maybe 9.5 almost. But
Yeah, it's a different style over in Japan than what you're used to.
well, that's what I'm saying. The viewing experience altogether is what lost it the points. The match itself, aside from the other guy not putting up much of a fight, it was a pretty daggone good match. It was very entertaining.
Yeah, the thing, the psychology though is what you got to look at the psychology of why Osprey didn't put up the fight he did after that DDT where he hit his head.
Yeah, yeah, I get it.
In wrestling over here, 5 minutes later the guy would have been fully recovered.
Yeah,
Osprey sold that throughout the whole rest of the match, unlike some other wrestlers would have.
Krabby does bring up a pretty good point. At first, at the beginning of the match, the first minute or two, I was like, all right, cool. The referee seems like he's going to referee this match because he was stopping the guy from throwing punches and that they were like responding, like, all right, ref, all right. And then right after that, it was like the referee was just one of the fans jumped in the match and started watching it firsthand.
Red Shoes is this Red Shoes matches have a psychology to them though where Red Shoes doesn't like disqualifying people if he doesn't absolutely have to. He will let the wrestlers get away with stuff that other referees may not, and he is their top referee. So he does all the main events.
I guess you can't over in Japan. You can't hit nobody with a closed fist. Has to be open handed.
Yeah, generally speaking, it is a disqualifiable thing in Japan to hit somebody with a closed fist, technically by the quote unquote rule book, but people do it all the time.
Well, yeah, you can't hit people with a closed fist in in American wrestling either.
Well, that pretty much has gone out the window. That really stopped being a thing in the '90s.
Which, okay, Ron Garvin was one of my favorite wrestlers,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh
his
yeah, I
finish
remember.
move. What's that, Buck?
I remember him. He was
Yeah,
good.
his finishing move was knocking somebody out with a punch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come on, what's that?
and that's when you could get disqualified for punching somebody.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
And Red Shoes, that's the nickname of the referee. He is as much a performer in some of these matches as what the wrestlers are. Like I was saying, when that first match between Omega and Jericho that they talked about when Omega was making his entrance to the ring, Jericho did an intentional chair shot to Red Shoes in that match. Red Shoes is not above taking a bump. Uh, Nothing like what you see them over here, where the referee just accidentally gets, you know, somebody barely touches them with their thumb, and the referees act like they were killed. Red Shoes take some actual real bumps in matches. For a referee, the guy's absolutely insane. And even there, the crowd wasn't as boisterous as what they could have been, but it was better than the last one we watched, where the crowd wasn't allowed to do anything.
Yeah,
Or
we
no, they
did hear
were.
something.
Yeah, it wasn't that the crowd couldn't chant in the last one. They didn't have the crowd where you could hear them well. This one, you could hear the crowd better. That's what it was. We said before that the last New Japan show we watched, they did not have the crowd mic'd well at all.
All right, gentlemen. I gotta go. I gotta work in the morning.
Yeah, I was about to wrap it up unless somebody had anything else they wanted to talk about, because we've been going for 2.5 hours now. So, Buck, you got anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Thanks for the invite, and it was a pretty good match, and I'll probably see y'all sometime tomorrow.
All right. What about you, Kingpin? Anything you want to say before leaving?
Oh no, that was good, man. I thought this was a pretty good show for the first show of the year. We covered a lot of stuff. No dead air. Uh, Plenty of participation across the panel, so it was a really good conversation. Krabby showed up, hung out with us. It was a real good match, so good start for the wrestling chat for the year.
Yeah. Yeah. On that note, we will bid you all adieu, and we will catch you tomorrow night over on the Unloaded Media channel with This Week Unloaded. Until then, watch Randy Savage and Bret Hart disguised as Mean Kingpin and Savage make a fool of himself.
You guys are probably really scared right now, and I understand that completely. But I get the better of the deal, and even though it's 3 versus 2, you guys are outnumbered because we're better than you guys. Yeah, we are. We're legends in our own mind compared to you guys. Even though you guys got the egos, we have got the wrestling skill. And this guy right